got a new pinball machine to talk about. As luck would have it, once again, found myself another great Facebook Marketplace score. How this transpired was I was doing my normal search for arcade and pinball machines. Came across a listing for a pinball machine that was listed for $1,500, and I was like, hey, that's a great game, that's a great deal. In that listing, I saw a glimpse in the corner of another pinball machine next to it, and I automatically recognized it as Banzai Run, and I quickly messaged the seller. I was like, hey, are you also going to be selling this machine? They said, yeah, we just haven't got around to listing it yet. I said, well, I'm interested in both of them, let's make a deal. So a little negotiation back and forth, struck up a deal. Said I'll buy both of these machines. So went down to go pick them up the next day. When I arrived, got to inspect them. Neither game would boot and start a game, so I couldn't even play test them. They would power on, but like the Banzai Run, half the GI didn't work. Flippers didn't work. Ill repair, to say the least. Neither one of these games were owned by people that were pinball people, so they hadn't ever worked on them. They acquired them from a friend that actually was a pinball person that had moved away apparently. But looked at the Blackpool 100, and it had water damage that was very obvious once I got up close and looked at it. The cabinet had started to bloat and expand. The cabinet head itself had this ginormous chunk missing out of it, and I'm a firm believer anytime you have to Bondo something that's the size and or bigger than your hand, then that you should just replace it and rebuild it completely. And I didn't feel like rebuilding a brand new cabinet from scratch for that game, so I ended up having to pass on the Blackpool just because I didn't want to have two projects going on simultaneously, and I could already tell that this one was going to be a bit of a headache and a chore, and it was. Like I said, wouldn't even boot it into a game, couldn't play test it on the spot, but struck up a deal with them, took this home, got it home, and started digging into it, and really quickly realized just how neglected it had been for a long time. Like I said, the left-hand GI was out completely. Two flippers didn't work, a pop bumper didn't work, at least 5 or 6 switches weren't recognizing or registering. So yeah, I had my work cut out for it, but went through the board, replaced like 5-6 transistors, a couple resistors, and then got everything squared away. There was a hack job on the auxiliary power board. It worked, but I absolutely hated it, and it was fried so much with bad soldering that I just ended up replacing that board altogether, just for peace of mind for future owners, whoever is going to own this machine later on down the line. Got rid of the batteries. I always hate batteries on pinball machines. Got NVRAM installed on there. Got rid of all the incandescent bulbs, put all LEDs, flashers and everything on there, so it's super bright. And this has some crazy light shows, especially when you hit like a multi-ball sequence that'll almost blind you that it's so much going on. Once I got everything squared away, like I said, pop bumpers, flippers, everything working, I replaced all the rubbers. Whoever had worked on this machine years past decided they were going to replace all the posts and star posts and everything with different metal posts that weren't specific or original to this game. I don't know what they were thinking. So I ended up having to go like backwards, going through the owner's manual, try to find every single post and sleeve and all that kind of stuff that was original to the game, and then undo all that. So I did that, got all the new colored post sleeves, new balls. All the original rubbers that were on this game when I picked it up were all like dry rotted and just disgusting. The playfield hadn't been wiped down in years, you could tell, but cleaned up nicely. Had some brass components on it for whatever reason that are not original to the game. It had a brass lockdown bar and brass legs. It's like somebody ripped them off in Adam's Family Gold or something like that. Got rid of those, put the period correct brand new chrome System 11 legs on it, brand new lockdown bar. I replaced the ramps on this thing. The main ramp here, it was old, busted, crusted, and had been screwed down so many times where the plastic around the screws holding down the ramp to the playfield all broken apart and brittled. It was just disgusting. So got a brand new main ramp there, brand new subway ramp on the back box, upper playfield there. Whoever had been, owning this game before me and tinkering on it had like MacGyvered some stupid black plastic piece on the back of the subway ramp, because the original one had broke off in this, and the ball was, just going through and rattling around on the machine. Upper playfield was missing the little tiny pinball. Got a new one of those. got a nice little kind of like bagatelle action there in the right-hand corner where it'll catapult the ball up there from a kicker, and it bounces around, hits the post, and then hit a target, and it'll score you some points that way. Replaced every single ring and post in the upper playfield area with bright, clear, translucent ones, so it brightens it up in there. Plus the old ones were, like I said, crusted, old, and just falling apart and disgusting. It's a fun, unique game. Like I said, the upper playfield experience is, you know, a one-off that you're not going to be able to really replicate anywhere else. Pat Lawlor's very first game, 1988. I'm still blown away that he was able to convince Williams to release this, especially as your first game. I mean, this is such a, you know, unique pinball. It's like two pinball games in one. You know, you got the upper playfield and the lower playfield. It's a tall game, as you can see. It's next to my Talladega Nights over here, and it's still several inches taller than that. It's a wild game, to say the least, but I have fun with it. It's got multi-ball action, which is surprisingly difficult. Everything about that upper playfield and the flipper experience feels weird because you got gravity going against you. So if you ever have a chance, definitely check out Banzai Run, because it's a kind of obscure, hard to find title, and it's a unique gameplay experience that you absolutely must do, just for the sake of, you know, fandom, and just saying hey, I played it, I experienced it, because like I said, you won't experience that type of gameplay anywhere else. But enough of me rambling about it. Let me show you some basic gameplay of Banzai Run and this machine now that everything's up and running and hunky-dory.
Welcome, race fans, to Banzai Run! Machine. He's challenged Bluebeard. Going after Red Hot.